but the whole world was shocked because of the circumstances of this heinous act, which we have classified as state terrorism. Unlike the claim of the Prime Minister of Israel, this attack is not a legitimate right to follow perpetrators of terrorism. It is an act of a diplomacy that is dedicated to political assassinations, and it undermines any diplomatic efforts aimed at ending the genocide against the people in Gaza. It is also an attempt to kill politicians who are members of a delegation that engages in negotiations with Israel while they were studying an American proposal. As you know, Qatar hosts, as a mediator during the negotiations, hosts delegations of Hamas and Israel. Qatari mediation has, in fact, achieved, in cooperation with Egypt and the USA, the release of hostages. And the last agreement was negated by Israel unilaterally, preventing an ability to reach a permanent ceasefire and the release of all hostages and the withdrawal of the occupying forces from the Gaza Strip and the humanitarian access and the release of Palestinian prisoners. They visit our country and plot to attack it. They negotiate with delegations and plot to assassinate the members of the negotiation teams. It is difficult to cooperate with such a mentality that does not respect the most minimum standards of cooperation. It is impossible. Is this not the definition of a rote government? The delegation, they consider negotiations a continuation of war in other means and a way to delude the Israeli public opinion. If the release of Israeli hostages is the end of war, the government of Israel is abandoning the notion of releasing the hostages. Their goal is to destroy Gaza so that it is unlivable and where no one can study or receive treatment. In other words, end the viability of the Gaza Strip to displace its population. Therefore, the Israeli leader wants to continue war. He believes in what is called Greater Israel. He believes that war is an opportunity to expand settlements and to change the status quo in the holy sites, in Al-Quds al-Sharif. He also plots for attacks in the West Bank and expansion. This imposition is the goal of this war. This treacherous attack against the sovereignty of a Gulf state thousands of miles away has confirmed that the Israeli Prime Minister, who takes pride in changing the face of the Middle East, reveals and manifestation of Israel's ability to intervene wherever, however it desires. Arab countries and Muslim countries have warned, and that have held an emergency summit in Doha, have warned against the consequences of this delusion. Israel is not a democratic country surrounded by enemies, but in fact, it is an enemy to its surrounding neighbors, and it's engaged in a genocide, and its leader is proud of preventing the establishment of a Palestinian state, and he promises that such a state will never be established, and he takes pride in preventing peace with the Palestinians, and that he will prevent such peace in the future. Israel is surrounded by states either who have signed a peace agreement or who are committed to the Arab Peace Initiative. But Israel does not make do with truces and settlements. It desires to impose its will on its surrounding Arab neighbors.